Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know, kudos to Deontay Wilder. I'm personally glad that he won his lawsuit against Alexander Povetkin. I personally thought Povetkin was full of hot air. Now, one of my brothers in arms here online, Hatman, sent me a Facebook post where he said, "Hey, Dwyer, what are your thoughts on this verdict?" And by the way, no, Hatman and I are not the same person, right? Well, let me just say this. There was good lawyering on both sides of the aisle. If you go online and if you look up the website scribd.com, you'll actually come across some of the documents related to the case. And you'll find out that Povetkin's World of Boxing, right, the outfit representing Povetkin, was represented by Arnold and Porter, one of the elite law firms in the United States. Right? Wilder was represented by Judd Bernstein, another elite lawyer. Now, the argument being made, let's just break it down in common sense here. The argument being made was that Povetkin took meldonium before it was banned, right? WADA banned meldonium on January 1st, 2016. The argument is that meldonium clears the body, as Arnold and Porter put it in their writings, slowly and irregularly. Right? Meldonium takes a while to get out of the body. So, the argument was that Povetkin's reading was so low. In other words, WADA has a 1.0 cutoff. We'll simplify it. 1.0. Povetkin's reading was 0.07 for meldonium. Right? Again, 0.07. Right? He had less than 10% of the meldonium in his system that would have triggered an automatic disqualification. Here's why I just don't believe Povetkin. And I believe his own attorneys lay out the argument here. They're saying the issue isn't whether Povetkin ever took meldonium. It's whether Povetkin took meldonium between April 11th and April 27th. Now, why are those 2 days significant? It's because Povetkin actually passed a drug test for banned substances on April 7th, on April 8th, and on April 11th. Right? He's clean as of April 11th. So, if he takes meldonium between April 11th, after he tests clean, and April 27th, then he's a juicer. He's okay. I'm going to have to run off here, but then he's a juicer. Then he deserves to lose the lawsuit. Right? But if there was meldonium in his system that somehow wasn't detected on April 7th, April 8th, or April 11th, that somehow reappears after that, and again it's 0.07, then Povetkin is not a juicer. He's someone who legally took a drug that leaves the body in an irregular fashion. that reappeared. I don't buy Povetkin's argument. I don't believe WADA is so bad that they could test you 3 times and you come back clean each time, but yet have some mysterious drug that slowly leaves the body still in your system. I just don't buy it. Right? I believe something strange happened with Povetkin after April 11th. That's my personal belief. I'm sticking to it, especially since Povetkin later would test positive for ostarine before a subsequent fight. I don't believe Povetkin stopped using the drug before January 1st, 2016. To me, there's enough clearance time for the drug to have cleared out of his system. So much so that there's none of the drug in his system, according to the drug tests on April 7th, April 8th, and April 11th. Now, what I believe is going to happen down the road, since Povetkin loses and Deontay Wilder and Lou DiBella are owed millions of dollars, is I believe that the negotiators of these contracts are going to negotiate carve-outs where they might say, look, I know you're supposed to have made $4 million plus for this fight, but if my fighter blows a drug test, we're going to have a liquidated damages clause that limits the amount that you recover to whatever the cost of your training camp is, and some minor amount for incidentals. Had Povetkin had that clause in this contract, and yes, these clauses are worth that much money, conceivably he could have saved off that one clause millions of dollars. But what I don't see happening is the precedent set in this lawsuit continuing, where a fighter tests positive for drugs, and then the other fighter sues for, what, $5 million? Povetkin's lucky that he's a heavyweight. Povetkin's lucky that he earns a lot. You and I know that most of the fighters in the sport don't make $5 million over the course of their entire career. Right? You get hit with a judgment like this, you might have to declare bankruptcy. Let's also talk about Povetkin's countersuit for defamation. In my opinion, that was really a public relations save face move, wasn't it? Right? I mean, if I'm supposed to fight you and you fail a drug test, and then I say, hey, I'm not going to fight the guy because he failed a drug test, I'm not defaming you. Truth is an absolute defense to a defamation claim, isn't it? Isn't this a public event? Isn't this information in the public interest? There isn't even an invasion of privacy, right? These guys publicly agreed to a drug testing protocol. So, count me among those who's happy to see the verdict in this case, right? Heavyweight champions who train, who sacrifice, and who are prepared to travel to foreign soil to defend their belts shouldn't be left holding the bill because some opponent, after passing drug tests on April 7th, April 8th, and April 11th, then goes out and fails a drug test later that month. And I'm sorry, I just don't buy that a guy can pass that many drug tests and then have a drug already in his body suddenly make an appearance in the next drug test. That sounds shaky to me. Apparently, it also sounded shaky to the federal jury. Understand, folks, this was a jury trial. Right? The defense can't blame some judge for some arbitrary ruling. No, 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 no. This was a jury of their peers. And in my opinion, the jury heard the defense and didn't think that it passed the smell test. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.